most Carolina Panther players one-on-one that doesn't work for the organization. Yeah, it's me. I'm Chris Jenkins. I'm with Charlotte Vibe, and I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel where each and every week I interview players one-on-one. And the cool thing about it is I always say I work for the fans. So I always take questions from you guys, ideas from you all, and I put that into my interviews with these players every week. And something very fun at the end of the interview is I do an activity like Office Olympics, just something really fun. And I don't always win, but that's not the point. Just so you guys can get the chance to see these players as people, not just as guys with helmets on running around on Sundays. It's really cool. So if I have your interest, please click subscribe to my YouTube channel and let me know what you think. All right, Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe. Here on Happy New Year, January the 3rd. Hope everybody's been having a good New Year. Sticking to those, what they call those things that you make on the New Year? Resolutions. I didn't make any yet. If you have any that you've made and feel like sharing, hey, please share below. What's up, Chris Johnson? Just signing on to say hello. Appreciate you coming on. Hey, today the Carolina Panthers are now in week 17, taking on the New Orleans Saints here in Charlotte, North Carolina, at approximately a 4:25 kickoff time. Game was originally scheduled for 1 o'clock, has been moved to 4 o'clock, just because they want to have them playing, them being the Saints, playing at the same time that the Green Bay Packers were playing, so that both teams will play their best, give fans and viewers some good entertainment instead of just sitting everybody. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is that the matchup. And so let me get started and say, hey, if you're watching on Facebook or Twitter, I invite you to go on over to YouTube and watch there if you want to interact. I do these live videos for the purpose of interacting, answering questions. I won't say the only, but I'd say probably, yeah, I would say the only live interactive football pregame show for the Carolina Panthers. So I hope you enjoy that part of it. What's up, Ali Broderick? Thank you for always being there and tuning in as well. So, hey, by the way, still got these shirts for sale. I don't know, man, I'm looking at the camera and it reverses. So that's why I grabbed my strings wrong. This shirt, I think, has been essential this season. It's a Carolina Vibe shirt for those true, dedicated, deep fans. If you like this shirt, I take this team for better, for worse, is basically what it's saying. There's a link in the description where you can check those out. So today, I want to ask a different question. I usually start off and say, tell me who you think is going to win today and why. But today, I'm going to go in a different direction. I want to hear about your thoughts on the season so far. So leave a comment. Let me know whether it's just one sentence or a paragraph. Let me know how you think the Carolina Panthers have done so far this season. And sure, also let me know how you think they're going to do in today's matchup versus the New Orleans Saints. And Saints are going to be missing some key players today, but some analysts still think that the Saints have an advantage. But before I get into that, let's go over the transactions that the team have done this week with the Saints. I'm sorry, not with the Saints, but as they face the Saints. So let me go ahead and bring that up for you all. We've had quite a few transactions that have taken place this week. Here we go. All right, so we signed quarterback Tommy Stevens to the active roster from the practice squad. We also placed cornerback Troy Pride Jr. on the injured reserve list and had to do a few corresponding moves as a result of that, which were, we elevated linebacker Clay Johnson to the active roster. He was a COVID-19 replacement for week 17, and then we also elevated tackle Aaron Monterio to the active roster. He is also a COVID-19 replacement. So those are the latest transactions that the Carolina Panthers did. Most of those coming just yesterday, actually, as they prepare to get their roster set for the final game of the season today. And we're also, before we're done with this video, we'll go over the inactives for today so that you can be prepared and know who we have there. Now, COVID, you know, it's been affecting everybody. It's been nearly a year we're approaching this COVID pandemic here in America. Sports teams did the best that they can to have their seasons and adjust, and I think the NFL did a pretty good job because it's week 17, and you know, about the beginning first quarter of the season, we did have quite a few games that got shuffled around. As that happened, the NFL placed tighter and tighter protocols to try to prevent a week from being canceled or from the playoff being pushed back. And here we are, week 17, no pushbacks. And I say congratulations to the NFL for doing such a good job with that. Sure, a lot of people haven't liked everything that has happened because things like what is affecting the New Orleans Saints has happened, which is Alvin Kamara has tested positive for COVID-19. Big hit to the New Orleans Saints. So he will not be playing today due to that, but also due to those protocols in which they increased as the season went on, saying, hey, if you were even near someone and even if you don't have COVID, you still have to miss some time. Not as much as the guy who had it, but you still have to miss some significant time. So the entire New Orleans Saint running back room and the running back coach is not active today due to that COVID protocol. And by the way, I see some questions coming in, so please continue to leave those as I get through my spiel. I will certainly circle back and go into answering and addressing those questions that are coming through. So I appreciate it, Chris and Ali, for getting those questions in. They also had an additional player, their safety, that will be out because of COVID. So the Saints obviously have no running backs that have significant experience, except you can expect to see Taysom Hill, who's their versatile player, who's played, quarterback for Drew Brees when he was out. I'm sure we're going to see quite a bit of Taysom Hill at running back today for the New Orleans Saints, as well as they've probably going to make some roster moves. I haven't confirmed what they did in terms of bringing up a practice squad player that may have some running back experience. But you have to think with Drew Brees being the quarterback that he is, not that it will not matter that Alvin Kamara is out, but you don't see this as a significant hit to the team because of the capabilities of Drew Brees and the coaching of Sean Payton. So I still fully expect a very competitive game from the New Orleans Saints today as they take on the Carolina Panthers. Not to mention that they have a great incentive because they still have the opportunity for a first round bye. Now, New Orleans Saints playing for a first round bye. Carolina Panthers, they're playing for a culture change, an organizational, man, I don't know how to say the right word, right? Organizational shift. And earlier this week, Matt Rule addressed a lot of questions about, hey, we played the Washington football team last week, had a chance to get into a really good position for a draft pick, and you didn't do it. Why didn't you do it? And he spoke about the fact that he feels like it's a skill learning how to win late in the season. It's a skill that the organization needs to have, winning late in December. And he looked at the team's performance since that Super Bowl season. He said that's by far been the problem. When they made the playoffs, they had a winning record in December. When they didn't make the playoffs, they had a losing record in December. So he wants to get that change. And the Carolina Panthers today have an opportunity with a win to, let me go to my notes here today. With the win today, they could go as high as 3. With the loss today, they could go as high as 3 in the draft. With the win, they could go as low as 13. Coach Rule, he's going to be coaching to win. Now, these two teams both played last week. Carolina Panthers, again, they won against the Washington football team. Final score in that game was 20-13. Minnesota took on New Orleans Saints and got beat down pretty bad. 52-33, New Orleans Saints won that game. These two teams have played a total of 51 times. Pretty even matchup. Saints having won 26. The Carolina Panthers have won 25. So, Chris Johnson said, I feel like our season wasn't bad, but it could have been better. Looking forward to next year. Okay. Ali Broderick said, I didn't have high expectations, but I think they did well for a new team. So those are some of the comments. Again, want to hear your all's opinion on the team so far this season, how you think they've done. Certainly we'll do some wrap-ups after the season concludes, after today's game. And speaking of, after today's game, I will be live once again with player and coach interview responses and sharing those with you as well as other good detailed information from today's game. Let's touch on a few interesting facts. Before I go into those facts, each week I have a list of top 10 team categories that I like to share. In the first quarter of the season, we had some good stats. And then for a while, I've been saying, hey, they are not in the top 10 of anything. And I don't want to stretch and find a stat to share with you guys just to say, hey, they have a top 10 ranking and something. So I'm very happy to show you this stat. Don't have a lot of fancy graphics around it, but let me show you this stat right here. Wait for it, here it comes. Takeaways. The Carolina Panthers have broken back into a top 10 team category. They have 22 takeaways, which ties them for 5th in the league. So congratulations to that defense for continuing to step up and improve, getting to that tied for 5th ranking with the 22 takeaways. And the big help for that was they had 4 takeaways last week versus Washington. They had 2 fumble recoveries and 2 interceptions. So clap it up for the team getting back into the top 10 in that category. I see Trio 1 has signed on. Appreciate you signing on. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's go over some few interesting facts for this matchup here today. All right, so the first one I already talked about as far as the draft position with the team. I already went over the regular season games. Now, this one I have not gone over, which is how well we are doing on offense, which is in Super Bowl era, only 4 NFL teams have had a wide receiver. I don't even know what this says. Okay, here we go. It says 4 players. All right. Let me take this stat down for a second because I thought it was 3 players. So hold on, let me double check my notes here. Okay. I got my facts right. Let me bring this back up. So let me go ahead and finish reading this stat for you all. Don't want to tell you anything incorrect. So in the Super Bowl era, only 4 NFL teams have had 4 players with 1,000+ yards from scrimmage apiece in a single season. Only 4 teams have ever had that happen. The Panthers this season already have 3 players that are over the 1,000-yard mark. All right, so that's, offensively, and as you say, you guys have left some comments, Chris Johnson, Ali, saying that looking forward to next year. Those 4 players, if you haven't guessed, Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore are also our tandem to go over 1,000 yards receiving. So congratulations to those guys. First time that's happened to the team in quite a long time. Mike Davis went over 1,000 yards from scrimmage last week. So we have those 3 players there. And just to give you their numbers, DJ Moore has 1,114 yards. Robbie Anderson has 1,071. Mike Davis has 1,015. And who would the 4th player be? Well, with an outstanding game last week, Curtis Samuel is that 4th player that has the possibility of making us just the 15 since the Super Bowl era to have 4 players with 1,000+ yards from scrimmage. Curtis Samuel today only needs 70 yards to make that true for us, being that 4th team to do so. So that will certainly be an interesting thing to watch for in today's game. All right, let me see what else we have for you. Rookie Jeremy Chin, which is a huge candidate for Rookie of the Year. He's won that award 2 times in terms of Defensive Rookie of the Month, twice this season. He leads our rookies in 2020 with 109 tackles this season. Certainly in a good position to win that Rookie of the Year award, and certainly hope he does. He's been a great pickup for this very heavy defensively, fully defensive drafted team that the Carolina Panthers did in 2020. All right. Good question. Do I think Quan Short will be released? I think that's probably a 70% chance that Quan Short will be released. I appreciate the question coming in, Chris. Quan, let's see, he was injured basically the past 2 seasons. Hasn't played very much at all. Certainly is a good player when he's healthy. Certainly is a good leader, being a captain when he's healthy. Has a huge contract, though. So I think and Tepper says he doesn't get involved in the day-to-day operations, but certainly he puts his influence on how he wants his organization ran. Data analytics being a part of it. I feel like if you have statistics that says, I've been paying this guy bazillions of dollars for 2 seasons. He's a big guy, heavy guy. He's been hurt the past 2 seasons. Yes, he can come back and be effective, but will he be effective at the rate at which we're paying him? I feel like that puts Quan Short's future in jeopardy with the Carolina Panthers. Appreciate that question coming through, Chris Johnson. All righty. And I did not get a graphic up for this, but I also like to talk about player connections, meaning what players have played or have affiliations with the team across the other side of the ball. Today, the Carolina Panthers are the only team with the connections. Joe Brady was an assistant for 1 year, offensive assistant for 1 year in New Orleans. Teddy Bridgewater, well documented, he's played a couple seasons with the New Orleans Saints, getting some backup experience behind Drew Brees and Chris Manhertz. And then when I read this, I'm like, man, I hadn't heard from my boy Chris Manhertz. What about our tight ends? What are they going to look like next year? Will Ian Thomas be back? Will Chris Manhertz be back? Will the team say, hey, these guys really didn't do anything bad? They just aren't a focal point where they're going to get the stats in in the box score? I don't know, but that's certainly a position that I would be looking to see how they handle that in the offseason. Again, that's the tight ends that we're talking about. All right, let's see if we have the inactives that have come out for today's game yet, so I can share that with you all. All right, I will have this list that I'll be showing to you just 1 second. All right, so I'm about to share you this list. And before I share the list completely, guess who is not on it? Tommy Stevens, who was recently at the top of the show. I had him in my list for being upgraded to the active roster. And he is active today. Again, quarterback Tommy Stevens is active today against the New Orleans Saints. He was on the practice squad. He was a previous member of the Saints. So maybe look for something creative from Matt Rule and Brady on that tip. But nevertheless, let me go ahead and show you the inactives for today, the official list. Here we go. Will Grier, inactive. No surprise there, because once PJ Walker had a pretty good game, I felt like Will Grier would be sitting for the rest of the season, and he is. Christian McCaffrey, Mike Davis, Russell Okung, Brian Burns. None of those guys should be surprises as being inactive today. As Coach Rule indicated, that those DNPs, most of those guys did not practice for the week and knew that they would not be active for today's game. So to round it out, defensive tackle Woodrow Hamilton, as well as defensive back Natrell Jamerson are inactive today. And Michael Schofield will start in place of Russell Okung. So hopefully that gets you prepared for today's game. Love bringing this information to you. And again, I want to continue to say thank you for everybody that has stayed on supporting the show this year, with COVID just changing things so much. But I appreciate you guys and girls and ladies and guys. I'm trying to be politically correct very much. Again, the shirt, if you like it, good way to support the channel. There's a link in the description for you to get that. Hey, the Carolina Panthers kick off in just about an hour versus the New Orleans Saints. Be sure to tune in and follow me on Twitter in case you want to know what that Twitter is. Boom, there it is. It's appearing right now on the screen. I'd love to talk with you during the game about what's going on, and also good way to get in questions to me before the post-game opportunity that I have to talk with players and coaches. Send me a tweet. Let me know who the question is for and what the question is, and I'll try to get it answered for you. For Charlotte Vibe, I'm Chris J.